Hello, humans, people, and others. Whatever. So today's video is a little weird. First off, recording this the day before my birthday, and it's going up tomorrow. Do the math yourself. You can guess which one. But also, new mic. Might have noticed that already. I don't know. But today's a lore video for my world. We'll go over what it's called and some of the history. I'll maybe go over some of the important figures and the gods, and nothing too specific though, because that'll all be in separate videos. But yeah, the map behind me, that'll be for a majority of the world. Then we're going to the countries and stuff as well. That's in a different thing though. But anyways, on to the video. It may seem like an info dump, sadly, unfortunately. But yeah, on to the video. Welcome to my world. It's called K-Tier. These are only 3-ish of the continents. They're going to be called the central continents for this. So we have this one. I have a ton of lore for. This one I have a little more lore for. Specifically this area. And then that middle one is worthless. I have nothing for that. Other than, oh yeah, pirates are right here. And technically everywhere else here. But that doesn't matter. What matters is we're going to start with a little bit of history for the world. Starting with my, with what the eras are called. So we have the pre-Dream Era, aka PDE, the Dream Era, DE, Lucid Era, LE, Veiled Era, VE, and the Enlightened Era, E. The Enlightened Era hasn't happened yet. We're in the Veiled Era. So, we're going to start with the pre-Dream Era and go over some of the major events and what marks each era, beginning and ending. So a long time ago, over 2,000 years before the end of the pre-Dream Era, dragons left the central continents. They were everywhere across here. Decided it's time to leave. So they did. And they left the weakest of them. The runts of their hatches. And so, the dragons we have now, weak compared to them. There is a comparison that will make sense later, if I make more lore videos. Then we have 1,500-ish years before the pre-Dream Era's end. The evolved humans population declines. Now, evolved humans are humans who evolved from predecessors, which were probably giants. They were bigger, stronger, smarter. But their population started to decline, and the gods were like, we need our worshippers. So they made what they viewed as humans, which are weaker, shorter, smaller than the evolved ones. Then, 231 PDE, last evolved human is born. He dies 100-ish years later, 150. He still has a bloodline, though, because he intermingled with the god-given humans. And then we had the founding of a couple kingdoms, and then the birth of Averus Dayhold, the Witch Queen. Her birth was 12 years before the Dream Era begins. It's also 12 years before the Athorian Spire. Is it Athorian or Lorien? Don't know my own lore. It's Athorian. So, 12 years before the Athorian Spire was founded, but both are considered the mark of the Dream Era, the mark of the beginning of the Dream Era. Athorian Spire is a giant campus, like a giant college campus almost, but for magic. It's named after a giant spire in the middle. It teleports around. It teleports around usually this area. It's been everywhere, though. We'll go over what those thoughts are later. So then in the Dream Era, nothing really happens in it. Except the very end, which is the thing that marks the beginning of the Lucid Era. The Divine King. Don't have an actual name for him yet, other than that he is the king of the Kingdom of Eloria. Great with naming, aren't I? Yeah, so, the Kingdom of Eloria, the Divine King is also the first of the Ascendants. That's a really powerful set of people, kinda. It's weird to describe. They'll get their own video eventually, if I do another video. But he is also the second most powerful being, or non-god, in this world. He is the Ascendant of Heaven. Eloria is like here-ish. Yeah, really strong. But his ascension marks the first ascension, which starts the Lucid Era. Then, a year later, you have the ascension of the Nationless King, Janoth the Insane, and Tadran the Dancing Flame. I have a story about Janoth the Insane already written. I can maybe make a video on her. The Nationless King, he's really cool. He has a ton of lore about him. And then, year after them, the Twins of Death. They are both ascendants who evolved from the same source of power, or who ascended from the same source of power, became ascendants of death. They both represent different types of death. And then Dark Prince Zadokis ascended. He is the ascendant of the Hells. He's kind of the foil for the Divine King, who is the ascendant of Heaven. Then, in the 4th year of the Lucid Era, Nationless King's kingdom is destroyed, because he was a king. Here was his capital. He declared himself God King and had his capital turned into a giant pit, where he is stuck forever, until he's killed. And then, year after that, Dark Prince Zadokis vanishes. They think he's dead. 52 LE. The Divine King is actually crowned as the King of Eloria. And then an arms race begins between gods, ascendants, and other powerful beings. The Witch Queen. The 500th year of the Lucid Era, Dark Prince returns. Dark Prince Zadokis. He curses his father. His father is in a coma, and he sends his older brother away on diplomatic missions constantly. He is now the only person in charge of the kingdom. It's called Lusmir. So he sits there, and he starts oppressing the people, as one who is connected to the Hells does. And then a rebellion starts within the kingdom, and 13 years later, after Dark Prince Zadokis returned, the second ascension begins, with the ascension of a person who... The ascension of a person titled the Blade of Freedom. It's a whole... their name is... It's a whole thing. Pretty much, yeah. And then later, the ascension of the Shark Sage. That one is interesting as well. Then, a couple... 20-ish years later, Chronomancy class starts in the Athorian Spire. Does not go well, they disappear. And then, 544 Lucid Era, Dark Prince Zadokis is slain. And then, 537 Lucid Era, Chronomancy class returns. They're all killed. Doesn't matter. Time God was mad. And then he dies. Time God dies. Athorian Spire occurs. God of Time is replaced by the Witch Queen. She puts a puppet in his place, because she wants to control time but not be a god. And then we have the Veiled Era. Technically, that's debated upon in the world, whether it's the Veiled Era or still the Lucid Era. And then Enlightened Era was Enlightened Era was predicted to be a thing by the Witch Queen, and it will begin with an Ascension War, or the War of Power. That ends the timeline. Most of the stuff will occurs here in this content. There is a whole story involving a Kitsune Empress there. And then, I believe we go to Fantasy Map Simulator to show off countries and stuff. So, onwards to that. And lo and behold, my countries in Fantasy Map Simulator, because I am not going to sit there and draw out all the countries. Here, you can see a little better. This is the Kingdom of Lusmere. They are allied with the Kingdom of or the Empire of Eloria. Technically, it's a kingdom. Most things are kingdoms in this world. Kingdom of Volkazamok. That one's interesting. Most of these are just placeholder kingdoms. This one is technically not. They're technically the patron kingdom, or they're the Kingdom of Plumeris is the kingdom which worships the god of entertainment. His name's Douglas. We'll go over the gods soon. I'll go back to my map and go over the gods and stuff. Or we can save that for another video. Probably do that. But this was the Nationless King's Empire. Right here is around where his capital would have been. And it's a giant pit. This is a place that worships the god of anarchy, amongst other things. This is the empire that got toppled by Kitsune. This place is not that developed yet. There's only one place down here, and that's of major importance. There will be a story about how they find other continents and try to colonize them. That's a whole thing. This kingdom is just kind of a placeholder between these two. The buffer state. And then there's a tribal alliance up here because the Kingdom of Volkazamok has not tried to conquer. This is a desert country. This is... So, it's called the Federation of Tortura. But it's less of a federation and more of just a place conquered by the forces of the Abyss and Hells. It is always in direct conflict with the Empire of Eloria. And thus, I believe that's most of the major thing. I guess the Kingdom of Lusmere is really cool. It could have its own video probably, but it has the patron god Lusmera. It's named after her. She is the goddess of luck. And then there's no god there named after. Anything else that's important? I guess it could be just a fun fact that technically the Witch Queen was born on an island in this area. And I suppose that is all that needs to be said about the countries of this world for now. I guess back to the other map so I can talk about gods. Okay, so I made the executive decision to not do the gods yet. It's a really long video already. So, we'll do a gods in a separate video. But, yeah, so that'll be where we end it for today. Or this video. We will be doing lesbian memes and egg memes. Or trans memes, I guess, again. But egg IRL ones. Sometime this month, probably later. We'll see. But, alas, hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe if you want. I don't know. Hopefully you found this enjoyable. I really want to make more content like this video, but better. But yeah, bye.